So My Hero Academia has a lot of interesting characters, right? But not all of them are in the My Hero 1 Justice series. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing another episode of the How They Can Work series. In this series, we look at characters that are not My Hero 1 Justice 2, and we try to break them down to create movesets for them, so hopefully one day they will become a playable character. Also, before we begin, I just wanted to quickly say that I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs before the end of the year. I know it's a big kind of goal, but I want to try to set a goal for myself before the end of the year. So if you guys happen to enjoy this video at any time, please like and subscribe. That would be really amazing. It would help me out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's just dive into this How They Can Work episode. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Wild Wild Pussycats, a pro hero team made up of Mandalay, Pixie-bob, Ragdoll, and Tiger. So that means we're going to have 4 characters with 4 unique quirks in one moveset. So this will be pretty interesting. I definitely think I created a pretty creative moveset for them. So yeah, let's just get into it. So in the My Hero 1's Justice series, each character usually has a normal attack, a red attack or an unblockable, a yellow attack or an armor attack, and they also have a quirk 1, a side quirk 1, a quirk 2, and a side quirk 2, and they also have a plus ultra level 1, 2, and 3. But in this series, we don't look at the normal attack because it's usually just the same punch or kick, and we don't look at the plus ultra level 3 because it's just 3 plus ultra level 1s combined into one big attack. So we only look at the unique things in this series. So yeah, that's how the series works. So let's just dive into this moveset. So like I said before, we're going to be talking about the pro hero team, the Wild Wild Pussycats. Again, this team is made up of the pro heroes Mandalay, Pixie-bob, Ragdoll, and Tiger, who each possess a unique quirk. Mandalay's quirk is called Telepath, and it basically allows her to communicate with people telepathically. She can send out messages, but she can't receive them, I believe. Then we also have Pixie-bob. Her quirk is called Earth Flow, and it basically allows her to manipulate the earth, and she can even create like earth monsters and stuff like that, which is really awesome. Then we also have Ragdoll. Her quirk is called Search, and it basically allows her to look at people or look at like a group of people, and she can find out information about them, even their weaknesses. Then we also have Tiger. His quirk is called Pilot Body, and it basically allows him to stretch his arms out, which is really good for combat. So this moveset is definitely different from my other ones, mainly because this time we're talking about 4 characters in one moveset. The way they will work is basically in this moveset, they will operate as a team rather than them being solo characters. The reason why I chose to do this is because firstly, they operate really well as a team. Like, we see them together all the time, and secondly, when it comes to their team, there are some members on the squad that I think could operate as a solo character, and then there are some that I think would have trouble operating as a solo character. So that is why I chose to make them a team character, so that way they can all, basically work in the game, which I know that may sound confusing because again, we're talking about 4 unique characters in one moveset, but I will explain how I think they could work together to make a pretty interesting moveset. Before we dive into the actual moveset for them, I want to go over a couple of things real fast. So firstly, we need to go over how the character selection will work. So basically, they will take up 1 roster spot, and when you select them on the character selection screen, you will first be given an option to choose one of them to play as the main fighter. You will use the control stick to rotate them around until you decide which one you want to play as. Now keep in mind that this decision on who you choose as the main fighter will affect your moves in the moveset, which we will get to later. And after you made the selection on who you want to play as the main fighter, then you can pick your assists like normal. So that's how the character selection will work basically. Secondly, I want to mention real quick, when it comes to quirk specials, keep in mind that these are still quirk specials at the end of the day, not assist, meaning you can't use 2 at one time because normally you can't use 2 quirk specials at one time. Also, these can't be used to break combos like assist because again, these are quirk specials, and quirk specials can't be used to break combos. So this may not make sense now, but it probably will once we start talking about the quirk specials. So I just wanted to mention that before we actually started talking about the quirk specials. I just wanted to, clear that up real quick. So with all that out of the way, let's finally dive into the actual moveset. So jumping into their quirk 1, I have it labeled Telepath. This is where Mandalay will appear and use her quirk, and when she uses her quirk, a small selection of the ground in front of her will glow red like how her quirk looks like in the anime. And if the opponent steps on that ground that is glowing, they will stop in their tracks frozen because basically Mandalay will use her quirk and send them a message telepathically, and they'll basically be confused like who said that, and that's why they'll be frozen, and then Mandalay will punch the opponent. If you're playing as Mandalay as the main fighter, when she uses this quirk special, the small selection on the ground that will glow red in front of you will become medium size instead of small. In the air, Mandalay will kick the opponent to the ground, which will cause a bounce. And yeah, that quirk special is definitely Mandalay themed because the name of the quirk special is Telepath, which is her quirk. And then obviously she, uses her quirk in this quirk special and stuff like that. And I definitely think this move will be pretty interesting because, if you're playing as Mandalay as the main fighter, this could be a good way to get a combo started because if you use your quirk special and then the ground glows right in front of you, if they step on it, you basically then get a free combo starter because, you know, they'll be frozen, so she punches them, and then you can continue a combo off of that. On top of that, if you're not playing as Mandalay as the main fighter, it's still really good because basically you can combo off of that. So once she spawns in and then uses her quirk, and then basically if they touch that glowing ground and she punches them, then you follow up off of Mandalay's punch. Also in the air, it's good for combos because she can kick the opponent back to the ground and cause a bounce. And yeah, just overall, it's like a really good move for combos. And if you are playing Mandalay as the main fighter, it's a good way to start a combo as well. So I definitely think that's a good quirk 1 for them. Moving on to their side quirk 1, I have it labeled Earthflow. This is where Pixie-bob will appear, and she'll use her quirk. And when she uses her quirk, she will tear up a small part of the ground and it will knock the opponent into the air. If you're playing as Pixie-bob as the main fighter, when she uses this quirk special, she will tear up a medium part of the ground instead of a small section of the ground. And in the air, she'll grab the opponent and slam them into the ground, causing a knockdown. So this one is more Pixie-bob themed because, again, the quirk special is named after her quirk, Earthflow, and she is basically prominent in this quirk special. You know, she'll appear and use her quirk, and it will knock the opponent into the air, which is great for combos if you're not playing as her as the main fighter. And even if you are playing as her as the main fighter, it's still pretty good because they still get lifted into the air, but you just have a higher chance of hitting it because it goes from a small section to a medium section. So basically, it's good because you can start an air combo with that. You can knock the opponent into the air after doing your normal attacks. And then it's also good to end a combo because she'll cause a knockdown. So basically in the air, she'll grab the opponent and then slam them into the ground and cause a knockdown. So it's a good way to end a combo if you're playing as her or if you're not playing as her. So basically overall, I think it's a good quirk special, again, to get the opponent into the air and also to basically end a combo as well. Moving on to their quirk 2, I have it labeled Search. This is where Ragdoll will appear and she'll use her quirk. And when she uses her quirk, she will create a small bubble, kind of like how Shinso's bubble looks like in one of his quirk specials, except smaller. And then the bubble will stay on the field as she departs. And basically, it'll stay on the field for a couple of seconds, basically acting like a trap, like how Kaminari's trap would stay on the field for a couple of seconds. And if the opponent steps inside that bubble, they will now take double the damage they normally would when they get hit by an attack. And if you are playing as Ragdoll as the main fighter, the size of the green bubble she creates will increase from small to medium sized. In the air, Ragdoll will do a spin and fall downward, and this spin as she's falling downward will basically do damage to the opponent, so she can basically drag the opponent back down to the ground. And yeah, so this one is definitely more Ragdoll themed. Again, it's named after her quirk, Search. And then obviously, again, just like the other two, she's very prominent in this quirk special. It's really interesting because she's kind of there as a support character. She'll create like a little bubble just like how Shinso's looks, and it'll act like Kaminari's trap. It'll stay on the field, and if the opponent steps inside that bubble, even though it only lasts a couple of seconds, they do take, you know, double damage basically if they get hit by anything inside that bubble while it's up. On top of that, it's also really good in the air. Like, this quirk special is really good in the air because she drags the opponent back down to the ground, which that means you can basically get a plus ultra level off after you use this attack. So yeah, I definitely think this is a really good quirk too. It's great for support because, again, she can set up that bubble, and if you are playing as Ragdoll as the main fighter, then it gets an increased bonus where it becomes a medium-sized bubble. So you have a higher chance of doing double damage if you are playing as Ragdoll. And then it's also really good because you can drag the opponent back down to the ground, and then you can basically throw a plus ultra level into your combo if you so desire. So I definitely think this is a solid quirk 2 as well. And moving on to their side quirk 2, I have it labeled Pilot Body. This is where Tiger will appear and use his quirk. And when he uses his quirk, he will grab the opponent and then bend backwards, hitting the opponent into the ground and knocking them into the air. If you're playing as Tiger as the main fighter, instead of the attack just being like a normal grab, he will instead stretch his arms outward with the range being medium distance, and he'll grab the opponent, reel them in, and then do the attack. So then basically after he grabs them, he'll reel his arms back in and then bend backwards, hit the opponent into the ground, and then knock them into the air. And then in the air, Tiger will do a fast-paced rapid jab. So yeah, again, just like the other quirk specials, this one is themed after one of the team members, this time it being Tiger, because again, the side quirk 2 is labeled after his quirk's name, which is Pilot Body, and Tiger is very prominent in this quirk special. So yeah, pretty good. Basically doing that grab knocks the opponent into the air so you can start an air combo. If you are playing as Tiger, you get that added bonus of the grab basically getting like better reach. So instead of it just being like a normal grab where you have to be like right next to them, he can basically have like a grab that'll reach medium distance to like pull in the opponent and then start doing a combo. which is really cool. And then basically in the air, it's also extremely good for combos because he does a fast-paced rapid jab, which is really good. So yeah, that is their side quirk too. Another really solid quirk special, I think. And yeah, so for the red attacks, I have it where Mandalay will basically grab the opponent, spin them around, and then grab their back, and then she'll basically slam them into the ground, causing a knockdown. With Pixie-bob, she will basically grab the opponent and then throw them. Ragdoll, she'll smack the opponent into the ground, causing a bounce. And then Tiger, he'll basically do a dodge into like a punch, like how he did when he was training with Deku. So each of them have their own unique red attack. So basically, depending on which fighter you choose, they'll have their own unique red attack. So they all don't have the same one. They each have a different one, which is really cool. Same thing with their yellow attacks. For Mandalay, she'll basically do kind of like a cat scratch. Pixie-bob, she will tear up the ground and basically, instead of knocking the opponent into the air, she'll knock them backwards. Ragdoll, she'll basically jump up into the air and basically kind of do like a cheering animation. And basically, obviously, when she like jumps up and stretches her arms out to like cheer and stuff like that, that's what will do like the damage and stuff. Tiger will basically do kind of like an extended punch. He'll basically stretch his arm out and punch the opponent. So they each have their own unique yellow attack, which is also extremely cool. For their level 1s, Mandalay, she will use her quirk, but this time the section of the ground that she makes glow, like in her quirk special, it will be much larger. And if the opponent steps on the ground that is glowing, they will be frozen just like her quirk special, because she'll use her quirk and basically send them a telepathic message, which will catch them off guard. And basically they'll be kind of like frozen, being like, what the heck was that? And then she'll basically punch them, and that will do the level 1 damage. For Pixie-bob, she'll summon a dirt monster, which will attack the opponent by swiping at the opponent with its claws and stuff like that. But while the monster's on the field, she can't move because she's controlling it. So with Ragdoll's level 1, she will use her quirk, but this time the green bubble trap from her quirk special is much larger. And if the opponent steps inside of the bubble, they will take triple damage. But the bubble doesn't last as long as the quirk special bubble. So just keep that in mind. But they will take triple damage if they step inside of the larger bubble. And then for Tiger's level 1, he basically does kind of like a rapid jab, kind of like Rappa's level 1. But it's not as fast, but each punch kind of like looks like it hits harder. So remember earlier when I mentioned, depending on who you choose as the main fighter will affect your moveset in some way. I think giving that option of each of them having like a different red attack, yellow attack, level 1, and then each of them getting like a different bonus from like a different quirk special, I think is really good, because again, it makes the choice of who you play as that main fighter unique. You know, even though it's 4 characters in one moveset, you still have some uniqueness between the characters, and I think that's pretty awesome. And finally, moving on to their level 2, I have it where the animation begins with the Wild Wild Pussycats teaming up in front of the opponent. Then the camera cuts to the opponent, who is now looking at all 4 of them, and the opponent would then charge forward for an attack. The camera would then cut back to the Wild Wild Pussycats, and they would send Mandalay up front to use her quirk to stop the opponent in their tracks. Then the camera would cut to Ragdoll, who would appear besides Mandalay, and she would use her quirk. The camera would then cut back to the opponent, who is almost completely now recovered from Mandalay's kind of like quirk. Like they're recovering from like the trick. They're like, oh snap, that was just Mandalay's quirk, that voice that I heard. They're basically, you know, almost fully recovered. And basically, as they're finishing recovering, like they would look, and basically the camera would then cut back to Mandalay and Ragdoll, who now have Pixie-bob and Tiger jumping up from behind them. Tiger would then use his quirk to punch the opponent from a distance into the air, and then the camera would then cut to the opponent in the air, and as they're like falling back down to the ground, a dart dragon would grab the opponent and slam them into the ground, causing a debris explosion. The animation would end with a close-up of Pixie-bob, who is finishing controlling the dart dragon, and then it would zoom out to show the rest of the team jump beside her, and then they would finish doing their signature pose. So I think that level 2 is pretty awesome because it incorporates all 4 of their quirks in this one animation. You have basically Mandalay stopping the opponent from attacking them with her quirk, then Ragdoll locates the opponent's weakness with her quirk, and then you have Tiger and Pixie-bob teaming up to attack the opponent with their quirks, you know, Tiger launching the opponent into the air, and then Pixie-bob, you know, finishing the animation by using a dirt dragon to grab the opponent and slam them into the ground, causing a debris explosion. And then I think it's a cherry on top with them, you know, finishing in their classic pose. I think that's like a really cool level 2 animation because they're operating as a team, and you get to see all their quirks in action, and you get to see them in action and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I think this level 2 is pretty awesome, and that's their level 2. But that is the moveset I created for the Wild Wild Pussycats. Again, I think all 4 of them are really, really cool. I would love to see them come to My Hero 1 Justice 2 in some way, whether they're all just solo characters or a team character. I definitely think they would operate best as a team character because I definitely think they could be really, really creative and unique with that kind of moveset. And yeah, I just think they're really, really cool, and I would love to see them come to My Hero 1 Justice 2, and that is my moveset for the Wild Wild Pussycats. But if you guys would like to see a specific character in the series, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to try to create a moveset for that character. And if you guys did enjoy, please like and subscribe. That would be amazing. Again, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year. I know it's a big goal, but if you guys happen to enjoy this video at any time, please like and subscribe. That would be amazing. It'd really help me out. And yeah, that is my moveset for the Wild Wild Pussycats. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Later.